Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a really powerful ancient poem, Psalm 2. We're going to break down one speaker's take on its huge themes. We're talking global rebellion, divine authority, and the massive choice it forces on everyone. Right off the bat, the speaker frames the entire psalm around this one core idea. You see, this isn't just ancient poetry for them. It's about a choice we all have to make. Are we going to chase our own idea of freedom or find it in what the speaker calls submission? That tension, that's the engine that drives this whole thing. Okay, so before we go any further, there's something you've got to know to really get this analysis. Psalm 2 is considered a messianic psalm. What that means is, it's not just seen as a text for its own time. No, it's seen as pointing forward, like a prophecy, to a future anointed king, the Messiah. That lens is absolutely key to the interpretation we're exploring. So here's our roadmap. We're going to start by looking at the chaos down here on Earth, a world in full-blown rebellion. Then we'll zoom way out to see heaven's completely different take on things. After that, we'll get into the king's powerful decree, and then we'll land on the final, inescapable choice this psalm presents to every single one of us. All right, let's jump right in. The thing about this psalm is it doesn't ease you into the story. Nope, it throws you right into the deep end, right in the middle of a huge global conflict. So the psalm just kicks off with this explosive question. It's asking something really fundamental about us, about humanity. Why all the rage? Why are we always scheming and fighting against a higher power when all our plans just seem to fall apart? So what does this rebellion actually look like? Well, the speaker gives us this really clear three-part diagnosis of the world's condition. It's a framework to help us understand the problem. First, the speaker describes a persecuting world, one that is actively hostile toward God. Second, it's an insane world, and that makes sense, right? Human plans, when they're built without any divine wisdom, are called empty things. They're just destined to collapse. And finally, all of that leads to a no-hope world, because when self-interest is the only thing driving you, there's just no path to a real lasting future. And this right here, this is the battle cry of the rebellion. Let us burst their bonds. I mean, what a powerful image. It's this deep desire to just break free from any and all moral or divine rules. This is humanity's declaration of independence, a demand for total, absolute self-rule. And now, the whole perspective shifts dramatically. Imagine the camera just pulling way, way back. We move from all the frantic plotting on Earth to the calm, totally controlled perspective of heaven. This slide lays out that contrast perfectly. Just look at the left column. Earth's leaders are in a total frenzy. They're raging, they're plotting. Now look at the right. God sits, he laughs, he holds their plans in derision. Now the speaker argues this isn't cruelty. It's the ultimate display of unshakable sovereign control. It's not even a fair fight. And this is God's answer to all that rebellion. It's the ultimate as for me statement. It's like saying, you all go ahead and do your thing, have your meetings, make your plans, but as for me, my plan is already in motion. My chosen ruler is already installed, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now the king himself gets to speak, and he reveals the divine decree, the official order that gives him his authority over every single nation on earth. This right here, this declaration is the very bedrock of the king's rule. The speaker really stresses that this is way more than just a loving sentiment. This is a divine coronation. It's a formal public proclamation of his unique identity and his absolute power. And what's really interesting is how this specific phrase, "Today I have begotten you," just echoes all throughout the New Testament. It's used to talk about Jesus' appointment at his baptism, it's linked to his incredible victory over death at the resurrection, and it confirms his supreme authority as the high priest. It pretty much covers his entire mission. Wow, the imagery here is so striking. This is not a gentle, passive kind of rule. A rod of iron and shattering a potter's vessel. These are really violent images, and the speaker argues they're meant to convey an absolute crushing authority that will destroy all opposition. So all of this, the rebellion, the laughter from heaven, the iron rod, it all builds to this one final moment. The psalm's last verses culminate in a direct and urgent command to everyone on earth. It all comes down to a final, inescapable choice. The central command is to kiss the Son, and the speaker is super clear that this is not about affection.
In the ancient world, this was a political act. It was a formal gesture of submission and loyalty to a king. It means to bend the knee and acknowledge his absolute right to rule over you.
And it really all comes down to this choice, laid out so clearly here. On one side, you have the path of submission. That path leads to service, reverence, and ultimately, a place of refuge. But on the other side, you have the path of rebellion, and that only leads to wrath and destruction. The psalm gives you no third option, no middle ground. It's one or the other.
Now, you might hear all that severe language and think it's just a threat, right? But the source argues that it's actually the opposite. It's seen as an act of mercy. By making the consequences of rebellion so incredibly clear and severe, the psalmist is basically screaming at people to get on the only path that leads to safety.
And so, we're left with this final question. After this whole poem filled with rage and laughter and iron rods, why does it end with this offer of refuge? According to the speaker, the ultimate point isn't the wrath that's coming, but the shelter that's being offered from it. So the final choice isn't just about rebellion versus submission, it's about perishing out on the road or finding safety in the king.